When I woke up, I was in heaven, and I like to call it home. I was bathed in this beautiful, warm, golden light, and I was surrounded by angels. I was surrounded by my loved ones. In 2004, it was May 29th, that was the day of my near-death experience. I woke up that morning in labor. It was different than my other two pregnancies in that when I sat or I lied down, I was in immense pain. So I ate my breakfast standing up. On the ride to the hospital, I propped myself up with my arms, sitting all the way down to take off some of that pressure and some of the pain. When we arrived at the hospital, I was required to sit in a wheelchair to be admitted, even though I told them I was in pain. We finally made it into the delivery room. I was standing at the side of the bed and I was breathing through a contraction and my water broke. At that point, the nurse turned to me and she looked at me and she told me that both the doctors that were on call that day were delivering twins in C-sections and that she would be delivering the baby. And I instantly knew that something was wrong, something was off. I didn't know how I knew, but I knew that this is not going to go well. She told me if I wanted to have the baby, I had to lie down. I said, no, I'm in pain. I want to deliver standing up. I knew you could deliver standing up, but she told me absolutely not. You want to have this child, you need to lie down. So I lied down in the bed, pain through my entire body. It was awful. So I told her I have to push. She told me I could, and it was just a couple pushes later, I delivered my third beautiful son. They handed him to me, placed him on my chest, and I got to smell him and kiss him, tell him I love him. Then they took him over to clean him up and check his vitals. The nurse then came back over to me and told me to push to deliver the placenta. I pushed, nothing happened. Same thing, on the second try, I pushed, nothing happened. So on the third try, she pulled on the umbilical cord at the same time that I pushed, and the pain, again, just horrific pain. She did that 3 or 4 more times, and I was in tears, and she stopped. And I noticed that the energy in the room changed. Everyone started to move very quickly. They were talking very quietly, and I heard the nurse page the doctor. He came in, he went directly to the nurse. They had a quick, quiet conversation. Then he came over to me. He asked me to push. I pushed, nothing happened. Second time, he pulled on the umbilical cord, it came off. So now I had the placenta inside of me and no cord attached. So he reached his hand inside of me to try to manually remove the placenta, and the pain was overwhelming. I thought I was going to pass out. Again, I'm crying and I'm begging with him to please stop, please stop. So he made the decision to stop. He called in the anesthesiologist who came in with a little tablet who told me to put it under my tongue and it would dissolve and help with the pain. It didn't help. So they made the decision, because I started to bleed out and the situation was becoming dire, that I needed to go to the operating room. I do remember when they were rolling me out that I just had one thought, and that was, I need to tell my husband not to leave the baby. No matter what, he needs to stay with the baby. Anesthesiologist walked over, placed the oxygen mask over my face, asked me to start counting backwards from 100, and I thought to myself, stay awake, don't go to sleep. And I tried fighting it, but I was out. When I woke up, I was in heaven, and I like to call it home. I was bathed in this beautiful, warm, golden light, and I was surrounded by angels. I was surrounded by my loved ones. I was in the center, and they were all around me, and it was their outlines I was seeing, but it was more than an outline. It was vibration. It was their energy. I was me. I felt what I looked like. It didn't change, but I didn't have a body. I was my vibration, the energy. And I instantly knew that we were all connected, that we were all one. Everyone's energy, everyone's vibration, the divine beings and myself, we all had our own rate of vibration and our own color. And they weaved in and out of each other's. It was like a beautiful harmonic progression. And they made these patterns, and it was deeply profound and deeply beautiful. The light that I was bathed in, and the oneness and the connection and the peace, the contentment, the love that I felt was overwhelming. The light was like wrapping the softest cashmere sweater or blanket that you can imagine that was infused with golden sunshine around you. And it was a feeling for me of exhaling, of finding my center, and of knowing that I was safe and I was sound. Being there was more real than it is here. I felt total peace, contentment, happiness. It was just much more deep and profound. There really are no words to accurately do justice to the experience and what I had felt. It doesn't exist here in our vocabulary. Magnify that, multiply that times 100 million more. And that's the feeling of unconditional love and peace and happiness that I was a part of, that I was bathed in. And I can get back there too. Not 100% feeling like I did, but through meditation, I can get back to that being in that warmth and that light. No words were spoken. And when I asked a question, it was answered immediately. It was answered when I started asking the question, in fact. And time there does not exist as we know it. I kept receiving messages at the same time, but separately. And there were 3 messages that I received over and over again. And those were that we are unconditionally loved, that everything's always how it's supposed to be, and that everything will always be all right. And I knew instantly that if I didn't go back to my husband, my family, my friends, my 3 beautiful little babies, I knew that they'd be okay. I was shown the past, not just my past, but the past of everyone and everything. And I just had this knowing. I knew and I understood why everything happened. I understood that going forward in the future, there is a higher purpose and there is a reason for everything, good and bad. I wanted to stay, and I wasn't given the option, and I woke up with the doctor yelling at me to open my eyes. I was cold, I was heavy, I was angry that the doctor woke me up. I was angry that he was so mean when he woke me up. I was angry to be back in my body, and all I wanted to do was go back home. Because when I was at home, it was just love, peace, joy, creativity, contentment, happiness. There was no cruelty, hate, violence, judgment. It was pure, unconditional love. And I understood when I was at home that we're made up of energy. Energy is made up of this pure, unconditional love, and that love is God. And I understood that. And I did not want to be back here. I wanted to be home. So what had happened the next day when I was in the recovery room, a hospital official came into my room. He had a suit and a tie, and he had a clipboard full of papers. He introduced himself, and he asked me if I remembered anything. And I thought that was really strange because that didn't happen after my first 2 deliveries. And I looked at my husband, I glanced at him, he shook his head like this. And I looked at the hospital official and I said, no, I didn't remember anything. He handed me the clipboard, he asked me to sign the papers. I didn't look at him, I signed him, I handed him back, and he left. You need to protect yourself, you need to ground yourself, you need to clear yourself. And then go into meditation so that you can quiet the mind so that you can hear. You can't hear your guides. For everybody, it's different. I will get a thought, and it sounds like myself, but I know now it's not. If it just comes out of nowhere and it's not me thinking about it, I know it's my guide. Sometimes I'll see them, or sometimes I'll get a symbol. But for me, most of the time, it's a thought that pops into my head. And for everybody, it's different. But everybody is psychic. Everybody has the ability to self-heal. It's whether or not you believe in it, whether or not you're open to it, and whether or not you're going to listen. Because a lot of times they're talking to you, you're just dismissing it. And it took me a long time to listen to my guides, open up to my guides, and trust them. When let's say you go to bed at night and there is a problem on your mind, and you're like, how am I going to solve this problem? And you wake up in the morning and the answer's in your head. Do you think that was you? Or do you think maybe that is a guide or someone in spirit helping you get the correct answer? When our guides or our angels come down to help us, we have to ask for help. They can't intervene unless we ask for help. We have free will on this side and the other side, but we are all connected and we all one. And at the end of 2013, when I was laid off for the 3rd time, that's when I started to study spiritual modalities, different spiritual modalities. I'd always been drawn to crystals, to spirit, to pendulum. And during that time also, I realized that I had the ability to self-heal. And not only myself, but I could help others to heal, because I can actually see their physical, mental, or emotional pain, and I can channel energy through me, and I can help them to heal. So I realized that I had that ability, and I'd studied angel classes, I'd studied cards, I'd studied the pendulum, I became a Reiki master, and I had a small business for a few years that was called Ace Holistic Healing, and I used my connection to the angels, I used crystal resonance therapy, and I used energy healing to help my clients. And it was all because of my layoff on the third time, and I had time in there, that I started to study this and realize this, and I allowed my gifts to start opening. Even though I always had them, that was the time that I started to allow them, because there wasn't anything wrong with me. So during my studies, I found this group of people called empaths, and the relief that I felt knowing that there was nothing wrong with me, that being sensitive was a positive trait, not a character flaw, was liberating for me, because I had grown up different. I always felt like an imposter, like an outcast, and I was told that I was too sensitive, and that was a negative for me. So to find this group of people and to realize that I'm not alone, there are other people like me, and I'm normal, was eye-opening. I feel emotions very easily, and I pick up individually. I can walk into a room and I know if I'm welcome, and I pick it up in community and global wide too. And to me, it feels like we're starting to wake up. The world is starting to wake up. It's starting to shift. We have all this bad happening right now, and I feel like it has to. It's got to get to that point where it comes up so that we can make the changes, so we can wake up and go, this isn't okay, this isn't right. And we've been maybe not told the truth, and we've been maybe believing some lies, and we need to look at things differently, and we need to change. And I feel the shift. I feel it is. I don't know if it's going to be happening in our lifetime or our children's lifetime, but it is starting to change.